putting the spotlight back on U.S. airstrikes in Nigeria, looking at the fallout on the ground. Across key flashpoint areas, communities are reportedly moving out in droves, driven by fear of more strikes. And some villages in Borno and other parts of the north are empty. Yet questions linger about what the strikes have actually achieved against insecurity. Now, joining us this morning to help us unpack this topic is Nurudeen Hummanyero, security and political commentator, to weigh the impact, the risk, and what this means for civilians caught in the middle. Good morning, Nurudeen. Thank you for joining us this morning, and compliments of the season.
Same to you. Good morning, Madam Lemuna and Hawa.
Good morning.
Good morning. All right, let's jump right in. But first, let's start here. What exactly do we know about these U.S. airstrikes, and why are they carried out at this time?
You know, of course, our country has been declared a country of particular concern. This is to the knowledge of every Nigerian, and it has generated so much tension in the country, both within and outside the country. We had sympathizers within the African nations. We have people even in the European countries like Russia, and then even in Asian countries like China, telling America to say, look, slow down. This is a sovereign nation, and there is a perfect way they should be treated. But America, it is what it is. They jumped into conclusion. Trump has threatened that Christians have been persecuted. He has sent a delegation to come and do their own investigation, or to visit places that Christians were persecuted. And we also, Howard Limo, came down to Nigeria, visited Benue and Plateau State, went to some IDP camps, interacted with some victims, and went back. It is very important to note that when Renimo came to Nigeria, he did not visit Sokoto State, or Borno State, or Zamfara State, or Enugu State. He only went to Benue with his team and Plateau State. And going back, we know that the Nigerian government has been making tremendous effort in fighting this insecurity, be it the Boko Haram or the bandits or the ISWAP or the IPOP or ESN in the southeast, or any form of the insecurity, you know, organizations we've been having in the country. Nigerian government have been making deliberate efforts to fight them. Now, we have seen what happened, I can say barely 72 hours today. We woke up and with the news that the American government has carried out a precise attack to dismantle ISIS terrorists in Sokoto State, in Jabo village, in and Tangaza. Now, I want us to really understand this. Operations of this nature are never hidden. And the collaboration with Nigeria, like the way our foreign minister has stated, that Nigeria is fully in the know, I really want to bring to the, to Nigerians that whenever there are going to be operations, there has to be a planning. There has to be a rehearsal, because the American government cannot just come on their own and carry out this operation and claim it is successful. The Nigerian government must have partnered with it in intelligence sharing, in planning the operation, in rehearsing the operation, in executing the operation. And as much as they came with their air power, using their own super drones, to fire their own rockets, on those targets they claim, they should have also made arrangement with a ground component that will mop up and make some arrests, be it, and then also record those that are killed, those that are wounded and can be arrested. But what we have seen is like a demonstration of muzzle. And the American government is only trying to muzzle Nigeria into whatever they are trying to achieve. I don't know. But this attack As
Mr.
far as I'm
Hummanyero,
concerned,
speaking of...
I have stated it and I'm still going to say it again. Where is the details of the attack? Because at the end of every attack, there is something we call impact assessment. And at the end of the impact assessment, we should be seeing how many are killed in that action, how many are wounded in that action. But today is 72 hours. Neither the American government or the Nigerian government has given Nigerians these details of how many terrorists were killed. And again, on the other hand, if you look at it, about the same period in Borno State, there were attacks in a mosque, at the eve of Christmas. And these things are about intelligence. So how comes the American government is missing another very vital intelligence that there is going to be attack in Borno State, but they couldn't miss the one in Sokoto State? So
right,
is
Mr.
there an
Hummanyero,
issue
speaking
here
of the
that
intricacies
the American
of these
government either are
airstrikes,
not collaborating well with Nigeria or their information is not well aligning with
Mr.
the
Hummanyero, are you
objective?
with us? All right. Now, speaking of these intricacies of these airstrikes, you spoke about the details that are supposed to be on a straight and narrow. At this point, you're a security analyst, and from your own standpoint, I would like to hear from you what you think the real strategic objective behind the U.S. airstrike is beyond, the official explanation. And aside from that, do you think that this airstrike reflects a failure of local intelligence sharing or a deliberate unilateral decision by the United States? You may mention right now of, points where we've seen these attacks happen, but then so far it was way off course where those airstrikes, had an impact. So it's a bit confusing to Nigerians to understand, okay, is there another, agreement or another target that the federal government and the United States have discussed about, because it is very, very confusing. We've seen the attacks the day before Christmas in Borno State, and we've seen multiple attacks happen after Christmas, after the strike. So I'd like to hear your standpoint on this.
First of all, it is a fact that we have had a strategic fallout with the American government. Whether we want it or not, whether we believe it or not, Nigeria has fallen out to a large extent with the American government in terms of our alliance with BRICS. And then with the issue around the Sahel nations, which we know Sokoto State borders with Niger, and the Sahel nations today that are out of ECOWAS. We have Niger, we have Chad, we have Burkina Faso and Mali. These are countries that today are not even considered. They are our sister nations, but strategically we don't really do much with them because of their military, juntas. But the American government, there are informations are not missing. We are in a global village. And we have seen the Russian news also stating it that is it possible that the American government are making plans to establish, a military base in Sokoto State, which will enable them, to threaten the Sahel nations into, realignment? Could that also be the reason? So all these are strategic, reasons to consider. However, we know that Sokoto State, yes, had their own issues with Lakurawas and bandits, and it is not, in denial that these things are also generating insecurity and are affecting economic activities in the general area, which also impacts, Nigeria at large. However, the United States government, partnering with these people, with Nigeria, to fight this insecurity, should have come certainly with a total, agreement with the country in terms of planning, in terms of leading the operation. So like you asked, is there anything behind it? I will tell you yes. Yes, it might not be official, but yes, it is all over that American government are really falling out with African nations And this could also be a possibility because we have seen no reason, even in the first place, why Nigeria should be labeled a country of particular concern. But that was done. We have seen no reason why we should be threatened with, coming to attack and kill terrorists. Yes, collaboration is essential because they have super, military equipments that every country will want to have, in fighting these insecurities at any level. But the way they are handling it is not really a good thing for us. I want you to know that internally, this thing is affecting our relationships within the country because Sokoto State is fundamental. It's fundamental to a certain, religion, which is Islam. And these things, if it continues like this, will certainly going to generate some kind of, tension again within the minority Christians and the majority Muslims in that axis. Already, this country is so much is so much having issues around the religion that we are trying to address, and there is a healing process undergoing. So what American government is doing, and that to the extent the American president will call it Happy Christmas, is not really a good thing, for him and whatever he is trying to achieve. I don't think this is the right way. So I really hope that in the coming days we will see a proper relationships in terms of fighting this insecurity, where the Nigerian government will take lead and be part of the planning, the rehearsal, the execution, and also in the reporting of the attack, because the attack took place and President Trump was the first person to report it. This is not a good thing. So if whatever fallout we have had with them in the past, if they want us to realign, we are a nation that they should consider very strategic because of our number, because of our resources, and in doing so, they should respect, our diverse nature. We have Christians and Muslims everywhere. We are a country of over 250 ethnic groups. So the American government will really have to be careful in achieving their own strategic objective in Nigeria. Otherwise, it is going to be a lose situation because internally already we are losing. If you look at the tension in the country, both Muslims and Christians are not happy with what is happening. And if these things degenerate, it will also escalate what we are seeing as insecurity. So really, there's a fallout between us and America, and they are not doing well to address it.
All right, Mr. Hummanyero, aside from, the internal implications when it comes to these airstrikes, we have to look at Nigeria's national security and the implications of, these airstrikes, cooperation or collaboration between Nigeria and the United States. Now, how do you think that this airstrike alters Nigeria's threat landscape in the short to midterm? And aside from that, does it expose gaps in Nigeria's airspace control when it comes to intelligence or counter-terrorism readiness as well?
We are a developing nation. We and we cannot by every standard measure ourselves with developed nations, because we have a lot to put in place. The system we are building a system now. And the question you ask, we have gaps certainly, because right from our independence to this date, a lot should have been done, which by virtue of our, leadership that has not really taken place properly, that has created the gap. But if you have seen, there are deliberate efforts to address these gaps, because we are already working on our borders. Internally, we are making more recruitments to improve on our armed forces strength and all the securities. We are also making effort to acquire a lot of equipment, right from the army component to the air component, because if you see, not quite long, the president has announced, we are expecting the arrival of about 4 helicopters, and I think it's also from America, and these helicopters are more sophisticated in nature to help in fighting insecurity. So if We are making all this effort as a country. Yes, we are not yet there. And we need more of this same, we need to sustain this momentum and even upgrade it. That means, and if you check even from the budget of this year, what has been allocated to the defense is about 5 something trillion naira. This is really, an indication that the Nigerian government is making a deliberate effort to improve, in the provision of modern equipment, recruitment of more personnel, improvement on their welfare packages to help in combating the insecurity in our nation. And insecurity is all over. It's not just in Nigeria. Even the American government itself today, we saw what happened at the Bondi Beach in Australia. This is insecurity. You understand? So we have all these gaps, and we, in an effort to address it, we are making our own efforts as a nation. And I think the president is willing, and he has made a very good statement to really help the security apparatus to become of world standard. And hopefully, maybe in his second term, we will see these achievements. So certainly, these things will gradually come in place, and Nigeria will also become one of the key players in terms of security at the world stage.
All right, Mr. Hummanyero, before we let you go, I'm going to ask you this question, and taking from your statement, like a follow-up question where you said, when an airstrike happened, it was the U.S. president that came on social media to actually give out the news. Is it only fair? Is it fair for Nigerians to, get this information from the U.S. president, being that our own president should be the one to, give out this information? That is one. And then also talking about, the impact on the national security. Now, some argue that foreign airstrikes would, weaken the terror groups. Others says it will, take them somewhere else for them to re-strategize, regroup, and then come back to, want to go ahead with, whatever menace they are causing around the country. Now, based on Nigerians' experience with, Boko Haram and also the ISWAP in the past, now, which outcome do you think is more likely here? Will these airstrikes seriously cripple the groups, or are we more likely to see them shift and adopt, pick up new strategies, and come back and re-attack?
If the intelligence sharing was adequate, if the information about the location of these terrorists was precise, the airstrike would have been the best, because it will hit direct on the target and terminate them completely. However, because you could see the gap, because there was no proper intelligence sharing and there was no proper cooperation between the Nigerian government, as claimed by the foreign minister, and the American government. Till this very moment, 72 hours, the operation ended up with hitting only farmland, because we are yet to see anything. So the essence of intelligence sharing with any country is very, very important, because they are in the best position to give you an appraisal of the situation of their own country. They know what is happening. They know how to go about it, and use of unmanned area vehicles, and that is why it is called unmanned area vehicles, UAV. These are, which is typically the drones we are talking about. It reduces the rate of counter impact to the friendly forces, because now, if the American government and the Nigerian government are using drones to attack terrorists, first of all, those terrorists have no access to this kind of sophisticated drones, because in the first place, the altitude at which they will operate, they don't even have access to seeing it, let alone to counter it. That means it will come, carry out the exact attack, and leave them with damages without any form of countering. But because this was not done, they came, they attacked, and they attacked nothing, and they left only burning farms. So it is wrong. It is wrong, and it does not give any form of result. And it demoralizes even the security personnel we have in the country. Because do you know that we have well-trained personnel in the Air Force that are specialists in handling drones? And we have them even in the Army. And if these guys are not used, how do you expect any form of results? You need to use these people because they are Nigerians. They know Sokoto State more than you. You must have done your own air recce because with your satellites, with your, whatever equipment you are using. But you need these people because it's their country, it is their terrain, they have operated in it one way or the other, and they will help you in carrying out this operation. They will coordinate it with you properly. But doing it in isolation, I am very sure when America carried out an attack that killed Osama bin Laden in Pakistan, it was not the Pakistani president, that announced it too, and which was also very wrong for America. But this is their own style of handling things. But it is a different case with what they have done in Sokoto State. If we have collaborated with them and we have given them every form of support to come and, destroy these terrorists in Sokoto State, they should also allow the Nigerian government to take the victory.
All right, Mr.
But in a situation where they came and they destroyed nothing.
The bottom line. Now, looking at the bottom line, in your own opinion, as a security expert as well as a political commentator, do you think that this airstrike improves Nigeria's security posture, or does it highlight a dangerous erosion of sovereign control?
It doesn't. It doesn't. I just told you, it demoralizes our security personnel. Certainly it does. Because what we need from these people is support. An average Nigerian, whether military, whether police or civil, is interested in having a secured nation. But all we need is support. And if you cannot do that, but you come and carry out attack and claim that you have destroyed terrorists and leave the country and be tweeting, it certainly undermines the country, first of all, with respect to its sovereignty. It doesn't show that you respect this country. And this is the same country, just of recent, I have seen the declaration of the Nigerian government. The United States was the beneficiary, highest beneficiary of our crude exportation for the year 2025. So it means we respect them. It's not as if we don't have other countries to buy our crude oil. It means this respect has to be mutual. But we can't be doing this and in return, because we have our insecurity issues, you undermine us. And the Nigerian government have given a lot of information to the United States government with regard to this Christian persecution they are talking about. And besides, the ISIS that America is talking about today, who created it in 2014?
This morning. Hello,
in 2014, Hillary Clinton.
Sincere apologies. Time is against us. Mr. Nurudeen Hummanyero, thank you for speaking with us this morning. He's a security and political commentator. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.